welcome to Daily Life Connection. Thank you for joining me again today as we continue to explore the heart of the Father as Jesus revealed it in Luke chapter 15. Today I want to look at how this story contains metaphors for the concept of redemption. When we speak about redemption, and the Bible is full of that, He's our Redeemer. He redeemed us. He paid the price of redemption. But what does that look like? What does that, it's not just a theological concept or a word that somehow, we attribute to what Jesus did for us, but we don't understand. Let's take a look at them. There's three pictures here that I think really help us understand what redemption is about. First of all, it's about restoration. And we see that with the father hugging this wayward son. When the son comes close, the father hugs him and holds him, but then he gives him the ring, the robe, and the sandals. And you remember we talked about how that restored him to full family status, with full authority as a family member. There was a restoration there. There is adoption. Sometimes it's called adoption. He adopts us into his family. And sometimes it's like family status. It gives us family status. That's part of what redemption does for us. It gives us that restoration of our family status. Second thing it does for us is it reinstates us. Our full inheritance. In Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 15, he talks about how we have been qualified to receive this inheritance. We're heirs and we are inheritors with Christ. And so this reinstatement, we may have found ourselves temporarily on pause. Sometimes you may have a subscription to Audible or Amazon Prime or something, and you decide for some reason to pause it, and you let your status lapse. And then someday you decide, I'd like to rejoin. And so you go back in and they reinstate your contract. They reinstate your status, your membership to that. That's a good picture of what redemption is about. It's a reinstatement of our inheritance. So, what we may have thought we lost is totally returned to us. That's great news, isn't it? Just great news. We may feel we have disqualified ourselves because of our choices or our behavior or our circumstances or what's happened to us. But what we find is that in Christ, we are redeemed, we are reinstated. And then thirdly, there's the concept of the picture of reconciliation. The reconciliation is being in right relationship. It's being friends. I love the message. It talks about it in Romans chapter 5. He talks about how God has made us friends again. And in 2 Corinthians 5 and 17 to 19, that passage, he says, God is already friends with you. Won't you be friends with him? What Jesus did on the cross for us is he brought us back. He made it possible for us to restore our friendship with God. You see, in this picture of the prodigal son story, the father never abandoned the son. He never disinherited the son. He never turned away from the son. His friendship for his son, his love for his son was never changed. It was the younger son's love for his father that was changed. It wasn't that the father needed to be reconciled to the son, but the son needed to be reconciled or brought into right relationship with the father. Both of them did. And the second son, we see the father out there pleading with him, won't you come in? Won't you walk in relationship with me? The father is reconciled to him, but he would not reconcile himself. He refused to go in. He said, I'm not going to be reconciled to my brother or to you. And there's a great picture as well, which I don't think we've discussed, but how we cannot refuse to be reconciled to one another and at the same time enjoy reconciliation with God, because God won't let you be reconciled to somebody over here, but not over here. And then he kind of runs back and forth between the two groups. No, there's one family of God. And if we aren't reconciled to one another, then we aren't living in reconciliation with him. He's always pleading for that. So redemption is restoration, it's reinstatement, and it's also reconciliation. It's about us turning our face toward home. It's about us letting Father hug us. That's a picture of redemption. He makes it, you see, the Father makes redemption possible just because of who he is, just because he's gracious and merciful and loving and kind and never cuts us off, never cuts anybody off. No matter how badly they behave, he never writes them off his books. They are his sons and daughters. They may be lost. They may be out of fellowship with him. They may not be willing to be reconciled to him, but he's going to do anything he can to have them come into reconciliation. Restoration, reinstatement, reconciliation. Three wonderful pictures of what the word redemption is all about. We'll talk again tomorrow. God bless.